I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days to come and listen to our sales presentation and learn about what it is we do and how we can help your community. So my name is Andrew Ferris. I'll be your host. I'm the founder and CEO of On the Spot, Canada-based history app, or Canadian history app. And today I will be talking about, I hope you can all see the screen there, and I hope you can all hear me okay. I think in the Q&A, you can also just, if you have any audio issues or anything like that, you can just drop questions in the Q&A, and any questions at all, and I'll try and address them as we go through. And also, I'd love to, if you'd share where you're from and what makes you interested in learning more about what we do and how we can help your community. So go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. Without further ado, we can get started. So my name's Andrew, as I said, and today, I'll be giving an introduction to our story, and then go through all of our various offerings. So these are the kinds of, mostly this involves the kinds of different types of tours we develop, which are along an increasingly wide range. We have a lot of really exciting new features that we've been launching lately, and that we want to show off, and ways that we can help communities tell all kinds of different stories. We started off as a history app, and now we do so much more. I can also show you how we can help you expand your reach and kind of bring in other neighboring communities into a project with you to help kind of boost, raise all the boats. Create a rising tide that raises all boats. And then finally, I'll talk about what it's like to work with us, how we can help promote the content, that you develop in partnership with us in our app and in your community, what those partnerships are like, and what some of our past partners have said about working with us and their experiences as well. Finally, I'll do a Q&A, this should last about 35-40 minutes, hopefully, and so that'll leave plenty of time for a Q&A at the end. If you have to leave before the end, don't worry. We can send you a video recording after the fact. I may cut out my cat Chloe in the beginning there, afterwards also I'll be following up to see, giving you guys emails and calls and see if there's any potential scope to work together on a future project. So, all right, let's get started. So On the Spot began as my history travel blog in 2013. I've always just been extremely passionate about history, and history is my background in education. And so I wanted to find a way to share that passion with people, and I wasn't sure how, but I did have quite a bit of experience with web design, and so I started traveling when I was after university. I was backpacking in Europe and Asia, and I started a history travel blog to talk about the history of the places I visited. And I found in Nagasaki, when I was visiting there, I found that at many of the places where photographs were taken directly after the atomic bombing, they had info plaques that showed those photos, and you could just compare the utter devastation of 1945 with what the modern prosperous city it is today. It was quite the juxtaposition was quite shocking. So I created a web blog post, kind of comparing the two, creating those then and now photos. And I found that really went viral and took off. And so I started doing that in different cities I visited around the world. And then when I was visiting Juno Beach, what I wanted to do is my passion was chiefly military history when I was a kid. And so I wanted to read eyewitness accounts, what it was like to for the soldiers storming those beaches. And you could go to specific bunkers and follow in the footsteps of those, the Canadian troops storming ashore on June 6, 1944, and being able to kind of, really make that history come alive and combine that with the then and now photographs. But I found that it was almost impossible to find any kind of internet access when I was there, and make it possible to when I was walking around, and making it very difficult to find any of these primary accounts of eyewitness accounts of soldiers on that day. So I thought, well, there should be an app for this, and it turned out that there wasn't an app that combined gripping storytelling with then and now photography. So I came back to Canada in 2016. I partnered with Chris Reed, who is my co-founder and CTO, an old friend of mine from the University of Victoria, and brilliant developer, and we built it into an app. And we launched it in Vancouver in 2016 to see if anyone would like it, and a lot of people did. And since then, we have been expanding ever since. So that's that's our story. We have currently covering over 100 cities and towns in 6 countries. As you can see, this is all the cities that we cover in Canada right now. It's a bit out of date. We've actually just secured some more just yesterday, from some exciting new partners that I don't think I can announce yet. But what we have are we as you can see, I've color coded these by year just to show you the pace of illustrate the pace of rapid acceleration in our growth, just because as we started in Vancouver, and then our first project outside of Vancouver was with the Western District Historical Society in Strathmore, and they commissioned us to come and tell their community's story. And so that was our first partner, and then we had several in 2017, several more in 2018, several more than that in 2019, and then in 2020 it really started to take off, and we began adding more and more cities, and now we have partners in every province of Canada. We have coverage in every province of Canada, and we are also just have our first American partners, and probably our first British partners as well. So the types of organizations that we partner with follow generally these 4 categories, which is heritage, tourism, business, and government. And all of these different organizations are excited to partner with us and work together with us in kind of large collaborative projects that bring together a number of community organizations, because what we do brings together, helps advance all of their interests at once. For museums and heritage associations, we're able to kind of turn any community into a living museum that people can walk around in, an outdoor museum, basically. We're able to kind of reconjure up the past, and even where a lot of history isn't evident, we can use, by using historic photos and other kinds of multimedia, we can kind of bring that past to life. And it's also fantastic. What we do is a fantastic educational tool. It's used in school curriculums in at least 4 provinces. We also work with tourism agencies because we are able to market our partner cities as destinations for tourism. And tourism, yeah, so see if I forgot a question there. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, left from Shahim. We also have and then for BIAs and chambers of commerce, those are very keen on working with us because we're able to both showcase the history of local businesses and get people walking around downtown cores and really experiencing the place and developing a new love for the place and hopefully coming back for more. And we have analytics that can show us exactly, say if we have a business partner, how many people are walking by their business directly in front of it and reading the app in front of their business, and we can use those opportunities to encourage people to go inside. And then, of course, with government, they kind of have all of these interests at work together. We have a growing user base, about 75,000 users this year, an average of 6,000 a month. This obviously spikes during the summer and after whenever we do a new major launch. We have been doing a lot of launches lately, and we are going to be heavily promoting them over the next couple months. I will get a bit more into that shortly, but yeah, no, we have a nice for a Canadian history app, a strong user base, a lot of interest, and a lot of reusability because we keep everything in a single app, and so that people can use our app in one city and then travel to another one and see if anything's there. And as more and more cities are added, the value of it to your average user tends to increase. So what do we do? I should get to that. That seems like kind of an important point. So we develop engaging historic walking tours. We come to communities and conduct high quality then and now photography. This is kind of my specialty. It's something that we do. I've been doing for a decade now. And it is when we go to a community, we create hundreds of then and now photos. We also do audio walking and driving tours, 360 virtual tours. We're really getting into drone photography and video right now, and that's going to be a big part of a major project that we're working on with the Snuneymuxw First Nation. We also offer translation. We have our own in-house French, German, and Spanish translators, but we also say for one of our major projects coming up, we're hoping to get it all translated into the indigenous language, the First Nation language of Hulkaminam, which is spoken in southwestern British Columbia, and we can also translate. We've just implemented a huge new translation system, so we're able to translate basically all of the buttons and everything in the app to make it a cohesive, consistent experience for people of all languages. And yeah, we also do analytics and digital advertising. So in addition to kind of then and now photo historic walking tours, which we also offer a number of different kinds of tours that can and tell many different kinds of stories that are not purely based on then and now photos. These include places of Indigenous significance. This is once again one of the major projects we're working on right now, where we are, say, working directly with elders of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. We are video recording them at different locations and they're telling, they're sharing their knowledge and stories with us, and we're able to we're very honored and privileged to be able to kind of package that with all kinds of documentary style footage that we're making and make that into a cohesive walking tour at these 3 different locations so that people can really understand the significance. Historic and archaeological sites. Archaeological sites are great because well, I mean, they are a bit challenging because a lot of time you can't go to that spot. It might be secret if you don't want people picking over it and stuff like that. But we can do all kinds of different virtual photography there and different kinds of storytelling, like we've done at some of our First World War internment campsites. Of course, historic downtowns and neighborhoods. This is kind of has been our bread and butter for most of the past. Say we've worked with like Little Italy BIA, the Downtown Vancouver BIA, a lot of BIAs, and just a lot of different historic downtowns and neighborhoods that tell the history of different buildings, that kind of thing. We can also focus on, we can just do a tourist attraction tour, just purely telling people what there is to do, give them trip itineraries around a community. Then that even as like an audio driving tour, telling them, oh, you're coming up here, here's some information about this place, and you can here's how you can use it, or here's what you can do there. A lot of public art tours, these are proving really popular, especially mural tours, because if we can tell people where to go, and then also give them a lot of context about the murals. Who's the artist? What was the message they were trying to send? How do I find out more about this artist? Parks, trails, and nature tours, we can do these because we have offline capability now, so you can download each city individually. We can also, and so that people can go out into the woods and far away from different locations and far away from service, and they can learn about nature. So we're doing like a virtual tour in Fort Macleod that is along the river there, that tells it's 360 shots where it's like video and images come up that tell people about what is there. Also movie filming locations. We just did one in Hope for Hope Tourism. That is for the movie Rambo that was released 40 years ago. Last year they had like a little ceremony or festival, I guess you could say, for it to mark that occasion. And of course, and with that, it was pretty cool because we can just, people can reshoot the movie stills from the same locations. So yeah, I'll just do a little quick poll to see which offerings would you like more information on? Oh yeah, and then we can do QR code spots. I guess that's one there that I left out. Anyway, as you're answering that, I'll continue on. So let me just give a quick app demo. Now I'm hoping this shares properly and well. So it's just a video. So I encourage you to download the app. It's available for free on Android and iOS. This is the Android version that I just recorded on my phone. So this is what happens when you open the app. You're given a list of cities sorted by distance from you. What this does is it helps promote, it improves discoverability, but also and also helps promote like smaller communities that are beside larger ones. So if, we have thousands of users in Edmonton, for example, but we're just about to be launching a community like Métis Crossing, and so they everyone in Edmonton, when they open the app, they will first see Edmonton, but then Métis Crossing. And then also, if we have new content, we'll if that's relatively nearby, we'll put some of those will feature at the top just to let you know what's new. And so, as you can see, new content, and yeah, so as you can see, we have a lot of cities that we've been at this for 7 years, and a lot of part. Excuse me. But you can also view it in the map, and then we're putting in various kinds of filters. So this is one example, is like a regional tour. Regional tour being, so this is a driving tour. It doesn't fit into the city mold. So it connects 8 communities in the South Okanagan. So what we did is we have, it's audio, hands-free audio. And what we did is is the audio guides people to each next location on this 90-minute drive. And the next town that they're coming to, it tells them what's there, and then directs them to stop off and then see, at the most, like point of where they want, basically where each community wanted tourists to stop, and then telling them to get out and use the app and find out what else is around there, because we have a lot more content in each of these 8 communities. And then once there, they can get back in their car, drive to the next one. So we're actually launching several more of these shortly. One is Highway 105 in northern Alberta, Ontario. And then we also have projects that follow a theme. These are large group regional projects. So this one, for example, is Canada's First World War internment camps. Now, this is the largest project we've ever done, and our first national scale project. We just launched it a couple months ago, actually, and we're really excited about it. But basically, in the First World War, Canada had a lot of internment camps for so-called enemy aliens, and these were primarily turned out to be Ukrainians. And they became forced labor camps, and the conditions were extremely appalling. It's quite a shocking story that was mostly erased from Canadian history. But we developed tours at many of these camps, pretty much all of them across Canada, over the last 2 years. And so let's take a look at Banff. So as you can see here, I already downloaded it, but if you want to download a city for offline use, you can do it there. We do it by city, so that for 2 reasons. One is that we can ensure that not overwhelming anyone's phone space, because the entire app, all the content that we have is many gigabytes in size. So we can combine it or condense it down just by city. Another reason too is that we can, if our clients want, we can give them the option of paywalling this information, which means if someone wants to, they can advertise the tour. Someone wants to buy it, for within the app for like $3 or $5 or $10 or whatever. We can paywall that. They can pay to download it, have it on their profile, and then after that, we can share the revenue from that as well. And that's a great way for our clients to make back money, and quite rapidly on it. And also an incentive for both of us to market it together. So as you can see, Banff. Anyway, back to the city page. So every city page starts with some of these images that those cross-faded images we call Combined Then and Now. At the top here, we have a territorial acknowledgement and a little blurb about what that people can expect when they see that city. And so we have this tour. This is Banff was the most probably prominent of the First World War internment camps. So I put a lot of elbow grease in writing this one, which I do all of them, but this one was, this is our showcase internment tour. We can embed video as well, but these were made by another organization working with the First World War Internment Recognition Fund. But yeah, no, so this internment camp, so you can see it was based at the Caven Basin National Historic Site. The internees were sent to work basically just building like some toboggan slides and roads and some mountains, stuff like that. And so every stop on a walking tour is mapped to where a photographer was standing when they took a historic photo. So the camp is built in kind of an odd place, but you can see here the mountains line up. It was just on the side of a hill. So these are guards having a snowball fight with the internees. It's quite an odd picture given everything else we know about the camp and how brutal it was. But and we also, as you can see here, we also footnote everything. So, whoops, I'm just trying to go back a bit, but. So as you can see, basically, with our writing style, so basically we have a writing style that's we cater to, we call it the skimmer, dipper, diver approach. So for the skimmers, these are people who are just engaged with the then and now photos, which are generally really, like, everyone loves them. Kids especially love them. And I'll show you what this camera button does in a minute. But that's a great way to get, anyone, pretty much everyone engaged with it. Now, beneath it is some text that shows kind of that it's the caption. So it's a caption, and it's also introduces the wider subject of the stop, the wider narrative, and we, yeah. And so this is for the dippers, people who are interested in the stop. They want to learn more about the picture, etc. Now, for those who are really interested in this particular subject, they can, go down and read more. This is for the divers. And we, of course, footnote everything. We have a team of historians. They're all, trained, academically trained, but, we train them to write in the style of public history that's really engaging and accessible. Excuse me. And so, we work to create the highest quality content that we can.
Winter.
And
in this picture, taken from the same set of football.
And there's audio. So we do audio tours. Once again, so I should add though that this is what we can do for you. We can record the audio, we can write the tours, we can come out do the photography, or you can submit it all to us as well, and we can host it within the app. We also do translation, as you can see here. This has all been translated into French, and we've done French audio as well.
Sur cette photo, les gardes échangent des boules de neige avec des prisonniers à l'intérieur de la.
So we're pretty full service. That's our audio, our French translator and audio narrator, Jo, and she does phenomenal work. Yeah, no, we can do basically all of this end to end for you, or you can submit it all to us, and we can host it on our platform for you. Another thing that we do is when we come to a community, we take a lot more photos than we need, so that people can kind of just get a taste of what's around them. Because also there's so many cool photos out there that we want to have an opportunity to reshoot, and so people can kind of just scroll down and see, what's in their neighborhood, and also, if there are, say, photos of their streets and stuff like that. We have a video mode here. This is the nearby mode rather, so we can include. We include lots of extra photos in all the communities we cover, and this gives it a replayability as well for people wanting to come back to the app. They can, and we can also we're looking to gamify this as well, so that we can create really push people towards kind of coming back to the app and trying to visit different spots and take different photos. I'm just showing you Nanaimo as well, because this is a major project we're doing with the Nanaimo Hospitality Association as part of our partnership with the Nanaimo First Nation. But they have given us a directory of, say, all of the tourism businesses around the community, so you can include all of those, and they're mixed in with the then and now photos, the 400 that we have in Nanaimo, and we can direct people to those, include whatever information any of those businesses want. And so there's not really any limit to what we can do in that regard, in terms of what kind of content you want us to include and what kind of stories you want us to tell. Just one other thing I wanted to show you is, so whenever you go to a spot, you can press the camera button here, and here I'll just, yeah, it allows users to create their own then and now photos. So I just tried this one out the other day when I was in downtown Vancouver. It works really well. So you can line it up, move the images around, change the opacity, and you get it lined up, and boom. So it actually works really well. And then what we're going to do is we want to have it so that you can it'll combine the two as two layers on top of each other, and you can finger draw, and like edit them together, just like those images that we have, and so that people can our users can effectively superimpose themselves into historic images. Now, we used to have this feature, and it worked out really well. And we had a lot of high school kids around Vancouver just discovered it and started taking all these pictures with it and sharing them online. Unfortunately, basically the app stores dramatically changed the firmware requirements for running this tool, and so we had to we're having to rebuild it from the ground up. But it did work really well for a while there. But we're going to get it back up, and we're really excited about that. It's a great way to promote the app and promote getting people out and about using the tour. Just so in regards to, before I continue, just on that poll question, I love, so we have, let's see, 75% interest in the public art and attraction tours, and similar in audio and the virtual tours. So as well, a bit on the, so that's great. So I will get right into those then. So yeah, audio tours, we can do as driving. And here, before I continue, I'll just show you a little bit more of what we do. So we have a website, of course, but we mirror all our content on the web so that, it helps SEO. It also makes it a really effective learning tool for kids, educational tool, increases our reach a lot. But I just wanted to show you, so, we do, we're doing a lot more creating video, like drone video. So this is one I made in one of our recently launched communities, the town of Powerview, Pine Falls, Manitoba, which is a really beautiful little town. So we are experienced drone operators, fully licensed, and can do all kinds of video, as well as I'll show you the virtual drone tours in a bit. But yeah, so we'll be. This is one way we can kind of boost, especially for archaeological sites, nature sites, and places of indigenous significance, because we want to tell the story of the landscape and don't have to rely so heavily on, that historic photos that were taken, often with like a colonial settler mindset, or just may not be available, or whatever the case may be. And this is a virtual tour we created for the Toronto Railway Museum. So they got a pretty good piece of real estate right there. But yeah, so we came out, did some photography for them. They'd already recorded their own audio guide for the site, so we included it. So you should be able to hear this.
Being built in 1906 and looking like a miniature steam engine, our Porter locomotive is quick.
Yeah, so you can navigate around the site. Basically you can go from site to site, listen to the audio, and really explore the museum. And we can do these outdoors as well. And we can also do these in the sky. So this is one I did with a drone, and I hope you can all see this okay. This was a proof of concept that we did. I did this last winter after a nice day that it was snowing, but you can put a drone in the sky and create use this as the basis of a tour, and so we can incorporate spots and stuff like this. Now we're actually doing several of these in the island of Seisachun and Nanaimo, but we can incorporate any kind of data. So we want to use this as we're really expanding on this concept of like drone virtual tours as like a kind of a medium middle layer between all these spots that we have and that full map that we have in the here at the map level from the nearby level. So that's a really exciting feature. We'll be doing a lot more of that in Alberta as well in the coming. I guess I'll be out there in a few weeks actually. Let's see. Do we have any other poll questions that are good right now? Yeah. Okay. So this question: what themes tie your region's history together, or your region together? And I ask that question because I'm talking about regional projects here. So I've kind of touched on these a bit. I'll just go a little bit deeper into it. But these are projects that connect a number of communities, and they also bring together a number of different organizations within each of each of the communities. So something that we're really good at is bringing together many different organizations. So if you have if you are excited to do something like this and work with us, then it would be what we're very good at is kind of going and working directly with each of these different organizations and interests in your community, so that everyone can get something out of it. We can tell every kind of story. So with the South Okanagan project, for instance, we can focus on, so we go to, the museum and tourism in each community and say, okay, what are the stories you want to tell in your community? Sometimes it'd be, say, a particular winery that they have, or say an old mine, or, these could be businesses, or, even like a subject, like say for Penticton, it's, a festival season. And it's a city of festivals, and this is so we can work with many different organizations. We worked with a number of the different festival organizations to kind of tell their story as well, and bring them together. And so I just encourage you to start thinking about, if you are interested in this, you can what other organizations in the community would be interested in working with you on this kind of a project. And then, yes, of course, I've also kind of touched on this, but we can do themed projects, which is this, and so we create like a website that can a portal, so that contains all the information related to a single project. And we'll actually be expanding this out to basically all of our partners, where if you're a partner, you get your own web portal for working with us. I guess I should have included that. So for instance, I'm hoping you can see this. So we have like an internment one. And so we have, a list of, we want to make it so that people don't have to go from that, from the app to, city to tour, right? And not be able more than make it more easy for them to find, the stuff that is easiest to find. And so, or that is most relevant within a project, and also a single clearinghouse for all that information. So, for instance, this is the one that we have for the Canada First World War internment camps. We're also working on a major project on Southwest Ontario's Black history. We are hoping to wrap that up in the next few weeks. So that will includes 4 cities and 2 audio driving tours that we're just writing and editing right now, that tell all the stories of these different, there's a partnership of about 16 museums, I believe, across Southwest Ontario, and heritage organizations. They're looking to showcase their history. So, and then, so what happens? What else are we good at? We're good at getting press, typically, because we create all this art. The press loves art, and people love to talk about it. Actually, history is interesting to people if you can package it in a way that is interesting without dumbing it down, which is our whole shtick. And so we also are good at doing so our advertising campaigns online, whenever we promote it, go well. We have done very limited advertising campaigns in the past because we just get our users through earned media and word of mouth. But we'll be doing more of these. But so whenever, say, if we do run advertising campaigns for a specific partner, our cost per click is 19 cents compared to the industry average of $1.72. So we are able to convert users really quickly. So if you want to get users to your website, you want to get people interested in what you're doing, then we are using our kind of storytelling techniques is a great way to do that. And yeah, we're able to get a lot of media coverage whenever we launch a project. And we can design marketing materials for you, such as posters, rack cards. We have a bunch of templates. We can create QR codes. We have some partners that are putting posters up in businesses. I believe one actually in Salmon Arm, they put it on a billboard. But with QR codes, there's also, say, if you're standing on a particular spot on certain, especially on concrete, I guess you can do stickers where people can scan them and with their QR code and go back to that. It brings the app right up. This is another thing we're doing. I thought I'd mention it, but so you can create your own app. This is a white label app. So what we do is we basically make a clone of our own app, but with only the one city in it, and we give you all the control over what's in the app. And you can put so you can change your content, upload it, change, basically make your own wide-ranging tourism discovery app. And you can also, paywall it however you like. Try and generate revenue via microtransactions in that app. And color, and we give you, you can make your own themes and kind of styling for it as well. And then we maintain it for you. And as we add new updates to our own app, we just can put them onto yours as well. We're doing this for Nanaimo as well. That was a very big project. So what's it like to work with us? We are experienced working with diverse partners of every size. What we aim for is consistent quality for communities of every size. So yeah, I think if you go to, I think it's the smaller communities that are the most fun challenges, because say if we're doing something like Vancouver or Toronto, there's an enormous number of thousands of books that have been written and a ton of attention that they get, right? And so I think those communities, and their histories, their stories, they're used to being told, and we always want to find like a new angle to tell those stories where we can. But with the smaller communities, a lot of them have only a few history books written about them. They haven't been updated since the 1970s, when standards of historiography would be considered quite different from today. I mean, and then people's the way people spoke and stuff. And so what we can do is we love kind of really diving into the history of these smaller communities and into their stories, and trying to tell them with the same level of commitment and quality as we do for Toronto or Vancouver. So that's one of our kind of main, I think, advantages. Really, is like we're able to, through ranking the content of small communities alongside those of the largest cities, and ensuring that it is of the same quality, really is something that is beloved by our user base, but also really helps promote those communities as well. And then of course we can create content, or we can host yours. If you just want to just give us, basically we can run the whole spectrum, from doing all of the work that you just tell us, here's what the stories we want to tell. Here's how we think we would like to focus on. We come to you with a proposal. We have our team put it together. Make sure you approve of it, and then we can launch that. Or you can just give us everything, and we can launch it all for you and host it, basically. So we are very flexible, and pretty much anything in between those two points we can do. And we have a lot of expertise and a lot of experience that we can bring to helping you to tell your stories. And then, yeah, of course, here's just a couple of testimonials from some of our previous partners. This is Cindy Tugwell, the director of Heritage Winnipeg, saying, it's brought them exposure all over the world. It was completed on time and on budget. At Strathmore, this is our first partner, but looking back, like many years later, at how this project turned out, it was really cool to hear that it's been embraced by our senior population, and that young people really love it. I know that they local educators utilize the app as part of their curriculum. I believe in Alberta they teach local history in grade 2, and so they have all the kids going around with iPads, and they do a field trip, right? And the kids can use the camera, take the pictures. They love it, and then they complement that with it's like their own guided tour. But they can also say local people who can tell the stories as well. And then say in Vulcan, Alberta, for instance, they just had Spock Days, which is so they took people on guided tours using the app, and telling the stories of, say, the great tornado that nearly destroyed the city in the 1920s. So this is so that's more or less, I think, everything. That covers most of it. Yeah. So basically, we're really keen to work with you. We have a pretty fast turnaround. And in terms of pricing, can vary. It really is. If you come to us with proposal. Let us know what you want. We can send you kind of a rough outline of pricing, but we can kind of customize it to fit your needs more or less. We can, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to be able to get on the app, and we can figure out a way to make that happen. And also, many of our partners take a phased multi-year approach as well, so that every year we can kind of keep adding more and more content. It gives us new stuff to talk about every time we launch that content, that kind of thing. So, please reach out if you're keen to work with us. We're very keen to work with you, and we'd love to, make sure this works in the future. So, I guess I just want to see the poll questions. Yeah, so Indigenous history, and public art and cultural attractions are the winners there. Be sure to those are Indigenous history is one that we'll be announcing a lot of major projects on, I guess. We'll be launching, I guess, Métis Crossing, which is in Alberta. That was our first Indigenous partnership, but our first First Nations partnership with the Sunamo First Nation is video. Technically pushing the boundaries of what we can do, and we're really excited. We'll be launching it basically within the month. Both of these projects within the month, and we'll have a lot to show off at that point. We're hoping to use those. We're hoping those can serve as models for Indigenous communities wanting to share the digital history in the years to come. And we've also written up like a set of ethical guidelines on our part, and our lawyers have drawn up careful legal contract on intellectual property rights with our Indigenous partners. Now, generally, or like as a rule, in our standard contracts, any content that we create in the course of a project with a partner is owned by the partner. I guess I should mention this because this is a question that comes up all the time. But you own the material. If you want to take it down, you can take it down. So that's the main thing. We have a specific one for Indigenous knowledge keeping now, because that is something that is very important to protect Indigenous knowledge and make sure that they have control over it. So anyway, that about sums it all up. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out, and I'm very happy to answer. So we have one from Andalib from Haida Gwaii that looking to reach out. And yes, absolutely, Andalib. You can reach out to me at Andrew@onthespot.ca, or you can just email info@onthespot.ca, and I'd be happy to talk right after this or anytime. I'll be available. So we can set up a call. So if anyone else wants to set up a call, I will be following up with everybody. Just so if you'd like to chat, just let me know. But you can reach out first, and we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for taking the time on this hopefully beautiful where you are July day. And I hope to chat soon, and hope you have the rest of a great rest of your summer. So thank you so much. I'll just leave a minute or two for any questions that might come in too. Yes. Mm-hmm.